Hey again, everybody. Welcome back to Connected Live. This is part 3 for today. Okay, so, I started talking about today with introducing a new puppy into the household, and I'm using my own introduction of my new puppy with Baldur and the different players we have going on. And so if you look at part 1 got cut off. I don't know what happened. My phone literally just went off Facebook and I couldn't save it. But it is on my Facebook page. And then part 2 got saved and I repeated enough so that I could use that as a whole segment, but it is kind of part 2, so you can listen to that. And then I'm going to do part 3 because the one thing that I really wanted to address is that people often will treat a puppy like an adult dog, and they will have an expectation with the puppy that is beyond what the puppy is actually able to do. And again, as I did in part 1, part 2, and part 3, you have to set the puppy up to succeed. Like you do a person in training, right? You set people in training and education to succeed. Well, if you're good at what you do, you set them up to succeed. And so many people don't set up animals to succeed. Running around, sorry for all the noise. It's a little bit like Wild Kingdom in here. So part of that, of setting them up to succeed and understanding that you're dealing with a baby, is they'll project adult values or even human values onto the dogs or the puppy. So people will ask me, can animals have honor, integrity? There's an old saying that we use in riding. That horse is a really honest horse, and that's like a really great compliment for a horse to get. They're honest with you. When you're on them, they're not playing dirty tricks. They're not bucking, kicking, doing weird things to unseat you. Animals can have integrity. They can really have all those qualities that, makes them an honest individual or a trustworthy individual. So for example, I can leave food down. Baldur comes from abundance, and the puppy likes to free feed. So I can leave Arbo's food down, and Baldur will walk by it and stare at it longingly, like someone looking at a big cheeseburger that's already had one or two, but he won't eat it. Thor, it's not that he doesn't have integrity, it's that he comes from lack. So I can't trust him. Now he's getting better. He's learning that he's always going to have enough food, but he just doesn't have that integrity to really stand on that and really believe and have faith in that. And so as I'm raising the puppy to be like we would in the horse world, an honest dog. Like with people, we're going to have our mischievous days or our days that we feel, I'm just going to do this, whether it annoys the person or not. That's called living life and being an individual on this planet. We all have lessons to learn. So yes, they can really have integrity. They can be honest. They can be moral and ethical. Animals have all those things. We just have to show them what that is and direct it in positive ways. So it's just like with people. Some kids are born with a moral compass, but other kids aren't. I had a really strong moral compass as a light worker, as an indigo, that a lot of kids didn't have. Why? Well, there's a lot that goes into it. Like, kids are basically formed at 2 years old, and they've absorbed all the behaviors from their parents. So if they see kind of certain things, they absorb all of it, and they're like a sponge. Same thing with animals. They absorb everything in their environment. And I will say, like, Arrow was a very sentient horse. He did not learn honor, integrity, and ethics, certainly from humanity with the level of abuse that he had, but he had it in him. He had that nobility to him naturally. And when we met, he decided to give me a shot, and every day took care of me. Every day was my best friend. Every day. He was a horse that I would have bet my life on. because we loved each other that much, we were that close of friends. I would bet my life on Cutter. On Cutter, my first German Shepherd. Yeah, I would bet my life on Baldor. He is a great dog. He's got so much honor. He can be a little bit odd and mamby-pamby, but when it comes to it, he's tough as nails. And I know I could still count on him, even with that weak leg. I would never want to put him in that position. And the puppy is learning how to have that. I have to show him healthy rules, boundaries, and limitations. And I have to show him that he has to be a part of the household and help, not be a problem, not create more challenges, but actually be an active participant who helps me. So, Thor still runs to the door and gets in your way, and he's just a mess. Again, that thing that he's got in him, he's still trying to find himself. He's still trying to have faith in everything. So he rushes to the door and literally will knock you over trying to get out first because he's so excited to play or whatever it is. And so we have to have healthy rules, boundaries, and limitations. We have to make him step away from the door, sit and wait until we let him go out. Not because we're trying to do dominance on him, not because he must do as he's commanded. He's like a child that's never had a proper upbringing. He acts wild. Whereas Baldor, sometimes Baldor will go to the door because he's eager to get out, just like I can sometimes be, in certain situations over-eager. And I'll look at him and go, really, dude, can you give me a little space? I've got to get my boots on, because we take our shoes off. It's like, I got to get my boots on. I got to make my coat on. Just back up. Give me some space so that I can get my stuff together, and then I'll open up the door in a second and you can go out, but give me some space to do that. I literally say all that. And Baldor was like, and he backs up and he sits down and he waits. We're getting to that point with Thor. We have to teach the puppy that. The biggest thing that we're teaching with the puppy is he knows he needs to go outside to go to the bathroom. I've explained it to him that we keep our house clean and that by going to the bathroom in the house, it's creating filth and bacteria, and that we have pride in our home. And so he hasn't even tried to bite door jambs. One day he was licking at the wood, and I went, no, that's a part of the house. We don't lick that. And I grabbed something that was his to chew on, like an elk antler, and I said, this is yours so that you can chew. Because you need to chew because your teeth are coming in and everything is bothering your mouth. This is yours, not that. And I said, no, and I hit it, and I made a loud noise with it. I said, that's not yours. And we have to treat our house, our home, with respect. And he immediately stopped. There was a day that he was interested in the carpet. Of course, puppies will do that. And I saw his interest, and before he could do damage, I grabbed this fabric knotted rope hemp toy. It's hemp rope toy that I found that was made in the United States. And I gave it to him, and I was like, if you want fabric, this is yours. You can have this. And I said no to the carpet. And he looked up at me like, oh. So he's little, but he is understanding. But sometimes he just reaches for what's there, and it may be chewing on the dog bed blanket, and I have to remind him. Why? Because it's like dealing with a toddler. Their attention span is very small. And like when raising a child and educating a child and giving a child healthy rules, boundaries, and limitations, you have to remind them. But you have to remember, you just can't say no to a dog all the time. As Joy would say in Rescue Me Incorporated, she works with the great Warren Eckstein. She's worked with Warren in behavior, 25 years, I think. And if you want a great book about how to raise a puppy or how to get your cat to do what you want your cat to do, Warren Eckstein's books are amazing. It's literally titled How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want and How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. Warren Eckstein. I think they still sell them on Amazon. And I don't get anything for plugging Warren. Warren's just the best in the world. He's in his late 60s, and he's still the best behaviorist, best trainer I've ever met. And I defer to him always. And the fact that he befriended me in the way that he did in Los Angeles and vetted me out and had me on his program. I was so blessed to be on his program. I'll never forget that kindness, you know, and I've been really blessed to have quality individuals endorse my work, like Warren Eckstein, Dr. William Farber. Doc Farber is in LA, and we still talk all the time, and he works for the State Department in zoonotic diseases, and he travels all over the world educating people about animals. He goes to these like small villages in Africa, and it was like we were hoping that I would get to travel with him as his assistant so that I could go to Africa, and it just never worked out, unfortunately. But the fact that he would have even thought about that idea, just again, and he teaches veterinary medicine still. Sometimes he goes as a speaker to University of Pennsylvania vet school. Like, he's one of the premier vets in the country. Dr. Gloria Weintraub, you know, validated my work. Dr. Nita McNeil here validates my work. Top vets. I'm so blessed and grateful and happy, and I refer to their work and trainers that I really respect. So with Warren, again, one of the biggest things that you'll learn when you do read Warren's book, or you work with Joy for matchmaking or training, and she can do that all across the country with behavior stuff, you can't say no all the time. It's like negatively reinforcing a human being. It doesn't work. You have to tell them what they're doing correctly. And when you want to adjust a behavior, you've got to give them the positive behavior that is okay. You can't just say no and walk away, because then you've given them nothing to work with. And then they'll go back and they'll make that same mistake again because you haven't provided the right education. So like, if he grabs my slipper, okay, he wants my slipper because it smells like my foot, and that's why he wants it. It smells like us. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one to break. So if I leave my slipper on the floor, I have to always remind him, that's mine, and I need to use that. You can't destroy it or chew on it. And then I have to give him something that he can have. Always give them what they can have. And if they're going after fabric, give them a fabric toy. If they're going after like wood, give them a bone. Give them something. Like, I like middle split elk antlers because they have the hardened marrow in between, but they can still chew on it, and it tastes really yummy without making your carpet smell disgusting like raw marrow bones do. So anyway, you know, you want to focus on positive reinforcement. And then your dog, they're playing chase me and catch me. I'm just making sure they're all right. You want to make sure that you give them the context of why you're doing it. Like, people notice, I'll be at the barn when I used to take Baldor before his leg and before he would eat too much horse poop and destroy his digestive system. I would tell him, back up, do this, do that. Hey, don't go there. Hey, can you please come over here where I can watch you, or don't get behind that horse. And that's literally how I speak to my animals. And people would watch them do it. I actually have a video. I'm on Arrow's back. We're walking towards the North Pasture with Amanda. They're all playing. And I actually said, hey guys, don't run too far ahead because, you know, we're coming up on the horses and I don't want you going in the field, Baldor. He literally stopped, came back around, was looking at me like, okay. And someone actually who watched the video said, I think those dogs just understood everything you just said. Yes, they do. Like, I have clients that'll say, my dog was watching your video and listening to you talk about your topic, and the dog was paying attention to the video, and they sent me a video of the dog paying attention to my Connected Live. I have clients that have cats, and then I'll be working with the cat, and the cats like will run into the room and start meowing at the phone. They have better hearing than we do. But the cats will always acknowledge me, because a lot of times cat owners will tell me, well, I just don't know if, you know, what you do will work with a cat. It works with dogs. I've worked with polar bears. It works with everything, you know, everybody, every sentient being resonates with, you know, communication and healing and love and true support, because, you know, cats can be really particular, but when a cat senses that you're actually there to really help, even if the cat doesn't like me as a person, like the cat just senses they're not going to like me if they ever met me, They may give me the hairy eyeball from the side, but they'll say, well, how do you propose to help me? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's talk about this and see what you need help with, what you need support with, and see if I'm able to help you. I don't even know if I can. And I always come at it from that point of humility because, you know, too many times when vets come at situations or even animal communicators are like, I am going to help you. Well, animals are like people too. They don't necessarily want help, like I've explained about Baldor and a few other animals I've dealt with. The ones that are in integrity, it's like the Great Awakening. They have to make the choice to ask for help. But you have to approach them with humility. Even the puppy I have to approach with humility. He's like dealing with a toddler, but if I just come in there and try to bully him and go, no, bad dog, he just looks at me like, screw you, lady. I mean, I'm his mom, but he still has an attitude because he's incredibly intelligent. But if I come over to him and go, this doesn't work, and this is why it doesn't work, and this is what does work, he is changing faster than not when I give him the why and I give him the positive behavior. And we end always with the positive. I always end with positive. Who likes to hear negative stuff? This is what you did wrong. I mean, the quickest thing to create emotional reaction in a human being is, this is what you're doing wrong, whether it's their health or their exercise or their business. You know, the minute you start talking that way, people go into emotional reaction, shut down, don't want to listen to you. Animals are very similar. So, you know, when you're introducing a puppy, if you want a puppy or a dog that helps you in your life, that is a partner that pulls their weight, you have to educate them to that. It just doesn't happen unless you get incredibly lucky and you get just like this Zen master dog. But in general, you have to set them up to be your partner. So Baldor knew, like we've been cross-country twice. We've been cross-country twice. And I always leave the window down just enough that if I'm at a weird gas station and I need help, like I actually get out of the car and go, I need you to stay in the car while I pump gas. But I'm going to leave the window down just enough so that if I need help, you can come help me. But I need you to stay in the car. Are we cool? And he'll look at me and go, we're cool. And always, you know, I only had one time where somebody got stupid with me at a gas station and the giant black head came out with the ears back and he just showed his teeth. He didn't even growl. And the guy was like, whoa, you know, and I was like, yeah, so you need to back up because you're being inappropriate. And if you want to go further, he'll come all the way out. And the guy like left with his tail between his legs and left us alone. And Baldor really is a partner. And, you know, all kinds of other things that we've done on the road, like, oh yes, cross-country skiing. I was in West Yellowstone and we were in a snowstorm and I was incredibly tired and we got caught in a bad situation. Sounds like Wild Kingdom, right? And there was this final uphill and I just was out of food, out of water, really tired, and the weather just, this storm came out of nowhere, was not predicted. And I looked at Baldor, who was around 3 or 4 at the time, and I said, I need help. I'm not going to make it, and I can't get up this hill by myself, and I'm going to need you to pull. And I did have a harness on him, and he had his boots and his coat, so he was well protected, and he was doing well. And he looked at me, and he said, I'll help you. And I said, okay, great. I said, I don't want you to pull really hard. I just need a little bit of help. I don't want to drain you going up this hill. So here we go up this hill together, and he pulled just so beautifully, just so perfectly. And we got to the top, and he was tired, you know, because we're at altitude, and he was pooped. And he looked at me, and he said, how was that? And I said, that was perfect. I said, I can't thank you enough. I said, it's another 2 miles. I said, how are you feeling? He's like, I'm okay. And I said, okay, I'm okay too. And we both ate a little bit of snow because we'd ran out of water. And we kept going. But that's what you want in a relationship with a dog. You want a team member that you can count on and that understands you no matter what. So like the puppy is actually going to be trained to be a service dog. And I have all that in place. And He's actually going to get to go into everywhere I go, which I'm so thrilled at, something that Balder didn't get to do. He got to do that in Hollywood all the time because everybody thought it was so cool that a dog of that size and that dark and that awesome looking would come in with me and be so well-mannered. He was service dog quality. But I didn't have the paperwork, so, you know, I couldn't do that. But now I'm going to get the paperwork for the puppy, so he'll be able to come everywhere. And I'm really looking forward to that. So if you want them to be team players, you got to show them how to. And remember that you're dealing with a puppy, and you can't put full-grown dog expectations on a puppy. And likewise, even though Thor is 3, I can't put full-grown dog expectations on him like Balder because he didn't have a good upbringing. People were not good to him. They didn't really teach him, and he doesn't have a lot of confidence. And I believe that he is going to continue to shift, but it's really hard to undo bad parenting and of a dog or of a human. So good parenting is really important. So that's why I think, you know, people get a puppy and they really don't think about it. They just, oh, it's a puppy. Not if you want a magnificent partner in your life. And that's also what the Great Awakening is about. So that is my 3rd installment for today. You want your animals to be honest. You want your animals to be real partners. And they can have values like humans have. We just have to show them how to have them. And they want to have them. And some of them, like my arrow, are just graced with nobility. And you don't have to teach them very much, even if they're very damaged. That nobility just shines through. So there are special individuals out there like that. But in general, that has to be taught. Okay, guys, thanks again. If you need help with your pets or your career or your health or your pet's health or training, guys, easy does it. You can reach me at connectedenergyhealing.com. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.